Namaste, I am Professor Dr. Pramod K. Raghav, Faculty of Agriculture and Veterinary Science, Jayoti VIDYAPPETH Women's University, Jaipur. Today's topic is food industries waste, or you can say the waste from food industries. What type of waste we get from food industries, in how many types that can be divided, and actually what we want to do with that waste. We gonna discuss all these things in this show, in this lecture. So food processing waste are those end products of various food processing industries that have not been recycled or used for other purposes. So food industries are wide: fruit and vegetable industry, baking industry, beverage industry, and if I go further, meat industry, seafood industries, and so on, milk industries. So there are various type of food industries according to the various type of products which are processed in these industries. But one thing is sure, that waste we are getting from food industry is having enormous amount of biodegradable material in the waste, because most of the food is biodegradable in nature. So that is one type of waste which we will get, and means the waste which is high in biodegradable amount, biodegradable matter. Okay, so solid waste we will get liquid waste, and we will get a mix of solid and liquid waste. We will get biodegradable waste, we will get non-biodegradable waste, we will get recyclable waste. Now you should ask, sir, recyclable means what? Means which we can recycle. Suppose some aluminum stuff is there, that can be recycled further. Some glass stuff is there, that can be recycled further. If I talk about one type of waste, suppose pellets. If some pellets which are used in packaging, they're broken, and they have been put in the waste. So when you are doing the sorting, you can take them out, can repair them, and can use them. So that is something I'm gonna say that it's a recycling of that wooden pellets, the broken wooden pellets, and so forth, so on. And one more thing which I would like to tell you, that the waste which we get from food industry, that it also can be used making some of the good end products, which we will call the bioproducts, or the food industry's waste bioproducts. So we were discussing actually the various type of food industry waste, which I have already told. And now the question comes that we have to manage this waste. So if we will not manage this waste, what will happen? Naturally, if we will not manage, if we will not treat, what will happen? It will affect our health. It will affect our socioeconomic conditions. It will pollute the environment, and it will affect our water bodies. It will affect our climate, our health, and all these things gonna pose a direct or indirect threat to our lifestyle, to our living environment. So, and one worst thing which I will say with the food industry waste is that if I am not managing it, if I am not treating it, it's gonna attract whole lot of type of insects, pests. Some animals will come to eat that, and that's how that waste, if it is not managed or treated, will spread the diseases also, because it has in it a lot of biodegradable matter which will start rotting if not properly managed. And as I told in my previous lines, that that gonna be the home of lot of unwanted animals, unwanted insect, pests, and all. So we have to manage this waste. Now coming back to the original point, the type of waste from food industries, there are two types of waste. Majorly, it can be divided into two categories: biodegradable waste and non-biodegradable waste. Biodegradable waste, as you know, which can further be degraded. Now, degraded by what? That is something which we're going to discuss in coming lectures. So the waste which can be degraded further, that is known as biodegradable waste. For example, paper, wood, fruits, and others. And non-biodegradable, जिसको हम degrade नहीं कर सकते further. The non-biodegradable waste, the waste which cannot be degraded, for example, plastics, for example, bottles, old machines, cans, styrofoam containers, and so on. So that type waste can be divided into these two categories. Now, what will happen again? As I told before also, global warming, if it is not managed, breeding of lot of, if I give you an example, mosquitoes, flies, etc., because it has a lot of biodegradable, matter in it, and it will go be the home of all these things. So we have to manage it. And so what is the definition of waste management? If I ask you, कि waste management कहते किसे हैं? Waste management है क्या? Waste का types तो मैंने बता दिया. Now we will think a little bit about managing this waste. So waste management is the collection of all thrown away materials in order to recycle it, in order to use it if it is usable. If it is not usable, we have to make sure that it should not be left out in open. We have to do something with this, all right, so that it may not affect our health, so that our surroundings may be neat, nice and clean, and environment may be clean, and we can have a good quality of life. So let me tell you, if this waste management is not handled properly, if the waste is not managed properly, it may create, I'm going to use the word, havoc in our life. Now, in nutshell, as I am talking about waste management, minimizing the waste is the first step. Don't let lot of waste, does happen. So we can adopt some practices which are minimizing my waste when I'm designing the processes. Okay. Second thing about reusing. Why we cannot reuse some of the products rather than wasting them every time and taking them the new one out and using it and throwing it. Rather, we should think about reusing the stuff and recycling. Think about recycling, and which is not coming in the about two categories which we cannot reuse, we cannot recycle, and there is no way to minimize it. Try to get some energy out of it. And finally, even if we cannot get any energy out of it, we cannot convert it into any other bioproduct, no option is left. We have to dispose it off now. So disposal is the last option, because disposal will come with cost. It will need resources. It will need techniques. You have to, involve people in it. You have to involve experts in it. So management of the waste is done by minimization, reuse, recycling, production of energy, and converting it into useful products. And if nothing is happening, then you have to dispose it. So that is something which is waste management. All right. Now, let me tell you some of the interesting waste which you will get out of food industries, which will naturally be solid, be liquid, and be a combination of solid and liquid, be biodegradable and non-biodegradable as well. For example, if I talk about a food industry which is very popular, and you can see it every, in a good amount. This is the industry is canning of fruits and vegetables, or processing of fruits and vegetables, or fruits and vegetable processing industry, you can say. For example, where you are preparing juices, squashes, jams, jellies, dried fruit products in large quantity. And in such type of fruit and vegetable processing industry, the waste comes out in huge quantity because peel, cores, seeds, flashes, those type of stuff will come out, which is 100% biodegradable. And if that is not handled properly, again, then that may create problem. So there are two options now. Before, you have already applied that, you don't let the waste happen. You will reuse, you will recycle. Now think about using that waste, making some product out of that waste, and then dispose it off. All right. So that is something which you have to think about. And these industries, they think about it. And if I tell you, why not to use fruit and vegetable industry waste for animal feeding? And it is done. And let me give you one more example. Suppose you are making orange juice or orange processing industry you have. So have you heard about, you have to peel the oranges, so you will get the orange peel. So there are two options now in front of you. Either just dump those orange peels, or, if some animal, is eating them, give them to the animals. Or if you are a smart waste management manager, if you are a smart waste management professional, you will try to make something out of those orange peels. You will dry them. After dry, you will grind them, and you can make a nice face pack out of that by adding some other stuff in that. So this was one example of utilizing the waste. So that's how the experts, they think about managing the food industry waste. So that was one example of fruit and vegetable industry I gave to you. So making byproduct, think over that. That is something which we can do about the waste which we are getting from the fruit and vegetable processing industries. For example, have you heard about the apricot? If I talk about the apricot is used in the confectionery as we use the almond. And naturally, when you're going to peel it off, or you're going to use it in the process, you will get some waste out of that. And let me tell you, the waste of apricot is rich in protein, and it very well can be used as a cattle feed. And why not? If my cattle, they are liking fruit and vegetable waste, as I gave the example of apricot, what's the harm in that? There's no harm. I heard about some of the piggeries which survive only on the kitchen waste. So yeah, it is a good use of the waste, to use that waste as a animal feed. So apricot is a nice example. Similarly, apple processing plant, the apple waste, it is also, animals, they like to eat that. So that can also be used as animal feed. Grape, we are making grape juice. So, a lot of waste is coming from the grapes. That can also be used for the animal feed. And we can even recover tartaric acid by crystallizing the palm, whatever is left over of the after the grape juice. So that's how we will, and grape can also be used in commercial pectin production, and whatever the waste is coming out, that can be used. So that's how we are, discussing about the waste which we, get from the food processing industries, like same example, guava, jackfruit is there. A lot of other type of fruit and vegetable industries are there. The product which we can, banana industry, yes, we can do that, papaya, mango, and so on. Now, what about the other industries, like baking industries, like, oilseed industries, grain processing industries, and if we talk about, other industries like milk processing industry, and so we get the waste out of these industries too. So most of the waste is going to be the biodegradable. So that you have to, use that waste by using the techniques which I just told. Minimize. If you cannot minimize, then reuse. If you cannot reuse, and recycle. If you cannot recycle, then what are you going to do? You try to make some byproduct out of that. And if that is not happening, you don't have any option left but to dispose of. And let me tell you, it is very important to think about the, managing the waste. As a sugarcane industry, you have heard about that. So there are waste from the sugarcane industry. Bagasse is there, which is used for, further as a, for generation of steam, and that steam is used for making the electricity. So sugar mills, they are, producing electricity also. And similarly, molasses is there, and molasses is used for making the alcohol. Very well, the ethanol. So these sugar industries are also attached with the distillery. Distilleries is a plant where we make the ethanol. So the opportunities are endless. And in some cases, which is very much in fashion and becoming very popular nowadays, using this food industry waste, okay, for the production of manure, for the production of compost, and using this food processing industry waste in the production of biogas. So biogas, compost, and the vermicompost, all these you can produce by using the food processing industry waste. There's no harm in that. Even itself in our campus, we have vermicompost unit, we have biogas plant, and we have several sites where we are making the compost using this, our little waste which we get from the mess, where, all similar operations as in the processing industries are done day to day on the vegetables and the fruits. So that's how you can use the waste. And that is not like wasting that waste. It is converting waste to value. You are making money out of with that waste by making compost, by making vermicompost, and by making biogas. And that biogas is for the, you can use it very well in your kitchen, or some lighting purpose or something else. So that was all about the food industry waste and various methods of managing this waste. It was an introductory lecture. It would have given you an idea. And as soon as I will go further, we're going to talk about specific industry waste and specific utilization or management of that waste. How will we do that? So that was all about today's lecture. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye-bye.